spouses turn into soldiers for a day. Welcome to Army Newswatch. I'm Jeannie Ryan.
And I'm Sergeant Pete Mays. Plus, the nation honors a fallen soldier for his heroic sacrifice. But first, here's a look at what's going on around the Army.
The culmination of 4 years of hard labor, Graduation Day. More than 900 cadets of the United States Military Academy at West Point will extend the long gray line another generation into our Army's future. The class of 2008, whose motto was "No mission is too great," is the USMA's 210th graduating class.
Today they join the best led, best trained, and best equipped Army on the face of the earth. And they are ready to be leaders in that extraordinary Army.
Class dismissed.
Secretary Guerin told the newly commissioned second lieutenants that the well-being of soldiers will be in their hands and that the core of the Army is soldiers taking care of soldiers.
Soldiers recruit residents of Sadr City, Iraq for the neighborhood guard. The program is based on the success of Sons of Iraq, which recruits young Iraqi men from predominantly Sunni areas. The long-term goal is for the recruits to get jobs with the Iraqi police. Sadr City has been very unstable in recent months. The Iraqi Army and coalition forces have secured the area, and the neighborhood guard is an added measure to keep it that way.
An innovative military school in California is leading the way in technology. The Defense Language Institute in Monterey is working to equip its students with the latest gadgets to enhance the learning process. Each service member now carries an iPod that makes coursework and lessons portable. Another tool is the tablet PC, which connects the student to the instructor through a wireless network. The 21st century version of a chalkboard, the smartboard, is an interactive whiteboard that displays the internet, text documents, and sound files.
All that put together, combined with the phenomenal teachers we have here, we just have the ability to maximize every possible way we can to simulate actually being in the country.
DLI expects to complete wireless internet access throughout the school and barracks by this fall.
The 101 critical days of summer are here, and an important part is motorcycle safety. The Army's top enlisted soldier encourages riders to be safe.
During the 101 critical days of summer last year, we lost 42 soldiers. 17 of those were from motorcycle accidents. Riding is an enjoyable experience, but make no mistake, your safety depends on your preparation.
For more motorcycle safety info, go to the Combat Readiness Center's website, crc.army.mil.
The troops took to the field at Washington Nationals Baseball Park for their annual Soldiers' Day. It was a way for the team to show their support for the troops. While the soldiers had some field time, they didn't set their hopes on playing.
They ain't gonna let me in the game. You know, I could hit a couple of them balls if they let me.
Soldiers enjoyed the game, but unfortunately, the Nats lost to the San Francisco Giants 10-1.
Well, it's time to give a big Army hooah to the stations that bring Army Newswatch into your home, and especially to Cat TV8, serving West New Hampshire and East Vermont.
And Cable Channel 10, Williamson County, Tennessee. Thanks for watching.
Don't go away. It's easier for Army spouses to become American citizens. We'll explain how.
And coyotes become a menace at one installation. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Today's adventure takes us to an Army post that's part of the Creek Indian Nation's traditional homeland. Do you know where we are? This fort's main school was once known as the School of Musketry. Airborne infantry soldiers who trained here in the 1940s played a key role in the D-Day invasion of Normandy. I'll be back with the answer in a moment.
Hey, you want to make a difference and make new friends? Me? Try volunteering.
Are you into it?
Call 4-H or check out our website at areyouintoit.com.
Did you figure it out? It's Fort Benning, Georgia. Founded in 1922 on a former plantation, Fort Benning is the home of the infantry. The historic jump towers were constructed in 1941 and are still used for parachute training. The Yuchi Indian Town Archaeological Site is a National Historic Landmark. That wraps up this trip. See you next time for another adventure.
Welcome back. When you're in a combat zone, your temporary home away from home can wind up being just about anything. Once soldiers with Operation Sabre Tempest cleared al-Qaeda out of an area in the Diyala province, they moved in to make sure the enemy stayed away. Air Force Sergeant Lee Bellinger takes us on a tour of their digs.
It's dinner time for the soldiers of Fox Troop's 1st Platoon.
So we got hamburgers, we got dog meat, we shot one out back.
So an all-American meal of hamburgers and hot dogs, a long way from home, and in the most unlikely of places.
We're currently occupied in a barn, and it is called a hen house.
Yes, a barn.
There was actually a bunch of animals living inside. There are various cows, one donkey, and a bunch of chickens.
2 weeks later, and they've turned the hen house into a home.
Once the soldiers got into it, making it look better like an actual living establishment, they started to actually tile our floor and just things like that that just kind of made it homely.
And when your other option is living in the back of your Bradley or MRAP, well, the hen house it is.
Home is where the heart is, so we swept it out, made it clean, made it look like the wives took care of us, which we do have a couple of those guys that really like to clean, me included.
After all that hard work, the word came down. It was time to move. Time to say goodbye to the hen house. Air Force Sergeant Lee Bellinger, near Balad Ruz, Iraq.
The southern part of Afghanistan is recognized as most dangerous, especially the Helmand province where Taliban forces are active. It's also where the Army Corps of Engineers Afghan Engineer District is building facilities for Afghan security forces. Gail McCabe reports.
Are you Mr. Razeka?
Lieutenant Colonel Bill Jones says the toughest part of his job is the site visit. It is, he says, a question of time.
They know we're here, and if we wait too long, it gives them time to react and set up an ambush.
The visits are short, 20 minutes max, because here in the Helmand province, where this site is located, the Taliban has established itself. Contact is not only constant, it's expected.
The construction is outside Lashkar Gah, the capital of Helmand province, known these days as a particularly hostile area.
Colonel Jones, Assalamu alaikum.
Lieutenant Colonel in the Army Reserves and a volunteer with the Afghan Engineer District, Jones is checking what will be a district police headquarters.
The existing place they have is falling apart, so this is going to be a brand new facility.
Which in turn gives police much more than a safe place to work.
For them to operate effectively, they've got to have a secure base they can work out of and good facilities for their own morale, and that's what we're trying to give them.
The site is one of about 40 security-oriented projects underway in this part of Afghanistan. This project should be finished within the year.
We have to go.
It's a challenge, but according to Jones, it's well worth the time.
And
Gail McCabe,
we'll come see you again soon.
Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
From student to teacher, one soldier takes her language skills from the classroom to the desert and back. Listening to her, you'd think she was a native Arabic speaker. But until about 6 years ago, Staff Sergeant Vanessa Gonzalez couldn't speak a lick of the language.
I can actually help students, and I can give them advice, because when I was going through it, I found certain things were helpful, so I can pass that on to them.
Now she uses her Arabic skills and lessons learned during her deployment to the desert to train future military linguists at the Defense Language Institute.
Trying to include situations that the students might run into. I never thought I would have to talk to a local and tell her to calm down, and that was kind of hard, and it put me in the spot, so I try to include little role plays and situations.
Once you're ready.
The soldiers in her class appreciate the insights into what awaits them when they head into the field as Arabic experts.
All the other teachers were native speakers, either from Sudan or northern Iraq or Morocco, and it's kind of refreshing. She obviously has been through this program before and has gone through the same frustrations we have.
We're learning from books right now, and they're well-prepared books for the Army, but there's some practical situations where the book may not apply, and she's given us some insight on how the language may differ per region, or that how we may have to say things a little differently or present things to native speakers.
I'm learning every day still. I actually try to learn on my own, and I still make myself do homework, so it is definitely a challenge for me because it's not my native language. I definitely want to keep using my language. It's a perishable skill, and if I don't keep it up, it's going to go away.
Keeping her skills fresh in the classroom gives these soldiers a new weapon to win over the Iraqis. Jeannie Ryan, Monterey, California.
It's something most of us take for granted. yet so many of us work hard to get: a U.S. citizenship. Now it's a little easier for military spouses overseas to become Americans. Jim Hart explains.
For U.S. citizenship requirements, military members are given special considerations when it comes to residence, but until changes to immigration laws in February, their spouses did not qualify. Under the new law, spouses of military members can serve their residence requirements while stationed overseas. Mr. Jock Sharfin is the acting director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
If you stop and think about it, if the family had been in the United States for a year, accumulating the necessary time to be naturalized, and then they get orders to go overseas to do their nation's duties and missions overseas, that worked to the disadvantage of the spouses who wanted to become naturalized citizens. In fact, it should probably have worked just the opposite, because they're making these sacrifices for all of us. And I think the law just caught up with that realization and that fact. And so it's good for the service members, it's good for the spouses, it's good for the families, and it's good for our country.
The first spouse to benefit from the change is Mrs. Zita Chuchan. Her husband, a naturalized citizen himself, has served 2 combat tours. She shares what drove her to go through the process.
Recognition. I just really wanted to be recognized just like any other foreign-born military spouse. The hard work, what we do every single day to supporting our family, to supporting our husbands who are in the service.
And with her new citizenship, she'll finally have a voice in the country she and her husband serve. Jim Hart, News for Public Affairs, Frankfurt, Germany.
Being a soldier isn't an easy job, but neither is being the spouse of a deployed troop. That's why spouses of 1st Armored Division spent a day training to see what it's like to be a soldier for just one day. Evie Brubaker was one of more than 40 Iron spouses.
It was fun. It was definitely one of the things that I've always, think of basic. You always think of crawling and getting dirty. I did okay for a mother of 3, and I feel sorry for the guys that have to be out in the field doing it all the time.
Hands and knives to the front. Trainee, please don't point that weapon at me. Keep it up or down, up or down. Up, up. There you go, there you go. You're gonna kill somebody.
My husband always complains that everything's heavy, and I always laugh at him. I feel a little more involved with what he goes through. It's a little bit more sympathetic, more he's not a wuss when he complains.
Coming up, a groundbreaking for a top-notch medical center to treat wounded warriors.
And commemorating D-Day, soldiers and World War II veterans honor those who died on the beaches of Normandy.
More of the stories that make America's Army are up next.
AIDS has killed nearly 6 million children worldwide. That's more than every child in every preschool, grade school, and high school in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, Atlanta, and Miami combined. The time to do something is now. The place is apathyisLethal.org.
Can we pause it for a second?
Okay.
Thanks.
Hey, where you going?
I need to pass gas.
That's cool. You can do it here.
No way.
Go ahead. I don't care.
Look, if I pass gas in here, it's going to be toxic, and it could linger for hours, maybe days. Is that what you want?
No.
Be right back.
Secondhand smoke contains hydrogen cyanide and other deadly gases. Don't pass gas. Take it outside.
Pants, pants, pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long. Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on
everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Welcome back. A major conference in Washington, D.C. focused on ways severely wounded troops and their partners develop and maintain healthy, intimate relationships. Retired Specialist B.J. Jackson, a double amputee, and his wife Robin say communication is the key.
I wasn't really good at communicating at all, and I probably still ain't as good as my wife would like me to be in my communication, but she was able to communicate with me her concerns, and then I was able to answer her questions or kind of share my concerns and my frustrations. And I think getting through the communication aspect of it and realizing, hey, if I communicate with her, she don't get mad at me and we don't fight, I don't have to sleep on the couch.
When it comes to military philanthropy, the Zachary Fisher family is legend. They're most well known for building 38 comfort homes on installations for families of hospitalized military personnel. But now they're focusing their attention on the needs of severely injured veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. As our medical editor, Dr. Paul Little, reports, in many cases, those veterans return with wounds not only on the outside, but on the inside as well.
Well, it was shovels in the ground to kick off construction of the $70 million National Intrepid Center of Excellence for Psychological Health and Traumatic Brain Injury. The new facility at the National Naval Medical Center in Washington will provide cutting-edge treatment for soldiers with those conditions. No tax dollars here. It's being paid for by the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. You might remember they also built the Intrepid Physical Rehab Center down at San Antonio last year. The center specializes in treating wounded warriors who have lost limbs or who have other physical disabilities. The Fisher Foundation is probably best known for building scores of homes on military installations around the globe so that family members can be with their loved ones as they recuperate. Secretary of Defense Robert Gates said many troops have returned from Iraq and Afghanistan bearing the scars of war, both seen and unseen.
These invisible wounds are in many ways more pernicious, more grievous, because they are not readily apparent and have not always received the attention they should.
We built this model second, which showed us.
Gates said the new center will do for traumatic brain injury and psychological health what the Center for the Intrepid does for amputees down in San Antonio. The new Intrepid Center of Excellence is scheduled for completion in late 2009. Dr. Paul Little, Washington.
64 years ago this month, Allied troops began landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. It was Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion, which marked the beginning of the end of Nazi Germany. Master Sergeant Ron Prazuka has more on the week-long commemoration that brought troops and veterans to the town of Saint-Mère-Église.
Before the end of the week-long commemoration, the attention turned upward. 4 American C-130s approached the town of Saint-Mère-Église, much as they did 64 years ago. This time, 200 paratroopers, including members of the Southern European Task Force from Vicenza, Italy, and Ramstein Air Base's 86th Contingency Response Group took to the skies.
What an incredible experience to be able to jump into the same place those who have gone before us have jumped. An incredible experience. I'll never forget it.
To honor the soldiers that died for their country and for the people of Normandy and Saint-Mère-Église, it is, I can't even put into words how honored I am to be here today.
This was not another invasion. In fact, this time the Americans were joined by their French and German counterparts as a sign of peace and cooperation.
Jumped a C-160, a German aircraft. It's a German parachute and everything. Very nice. Came out nice and clean. So
it was extraordinary for us to jump here, but we were treated very well by all the participating nations.
They, along with their fellow French and American paratroopers, made the ceremonial march through the town square, bringing to a close a week's worth of commemorations and a lifetime of memories.
Reporting from the shores of Normandy, I'm Master Sergeant Ron Prazuka.
Coyotes play an important role in the ecosystem by keeping rodent populations under control. By nature, coyotes are fearful of humans. But as some California residents have found recently, coyotes can threaten people. As James Williams reports, Fort Irwin officials remind residents there to be cautious.
Jessica Aselius is not afraid of coyotes.
No.
She has Argus, the wolf killer.
They're afraid of him.
Aselius, who works at the Department of Public Works, says the coyote population around Fort Irwin has been decreasing since the drought last summer. But there are enough of them, she says, to remain a nuisance. Aselius says she fields calls from worried residents.
Come get this coyote. It's in my front yard and it won't let my kids out the front door. And it's like, well, that's unusual. And then you start to get more of the story and you realize you've been feeding the coyote either scraps or dog food or things like that, and now it's come to associate people with food, and of course it's not going to give up a free meal.
A couple of coyote attacks were reported just east of Los Angeles in May. While some believe there's a coyote problem in Southern California, Fort Irwin officials say it's a people problem.
The reason it's a people problem is because the people oftentimes will leave their trash out, or they will provide additional resources to these coyotes which allow them to thrive. They may seem like they're tame, similar to a dog or another pet, but they are indeed wildlife, and we need to treat them like wildlife.
Cameron Rognan says predator-prey relationships are cyclical, and although the population around Fort Irwin is on the decline, it's just a matter of time before the coyotes here come back in numbers. James Williams, Fort Irwin, California.
Extreme weather is making headlines this summer and is a very real threat to people across the country. Mary Cochran takes us to Florida, where the Corps of Engineers is working to reduce the havoc Mother Nature can unleash.
On the banks of the nation's second largest freshwater lake is Carol's Hair Bar.
I've been right here since '71.
This is Cotton.
Now, do you want to leave them long like that?
This is Carol, and these
Donna, Francis, Jean, Wilma
are not names of her customers.
I got caught in one hurricane.
A situation complicated by her location.
The back of my house, it took the shingles off back there.
Carol works and lives
right on the line
of the Herbert Hoover Dike.
Herbert Hoover Dike is about 143 miles, which surrounds all of Lake Okeechobee.
Built in the 30s, time has considerably weakened the dike. The Corps of Engineers is managing a major rehab project.
That will cut off what we call piping, which is historically damages caused by some of the water that comes out of Lake Okeechobee.
Engineers are designing land features and a wall that will run 60 feet below the dike past the limestone layer.
The cutoff wall starts right here and runs for about 22 miles all along this area in here.
A revolutionary method developed in Japan is on site.
It's called a trench remixing deep wall method. What essentially it is a vertical chainsaw that cuts into the ground. As the chainsaw effect rotates, it mixes the grout with the ground, and that forms slurry wall.
When complete, the dike will meet engineered dam safety standards and help protect the 60,000 people who work and live along the lake. Mary Cochran, Pahokee, Florida.
The Herbert Hoover Dike Rehab is the most funded dam project in the U.S.
Coming up, a nation pays tribute to a soldier for his heroic sacrifice.
We'll be right back after the break.
You wouldn't treat a crash test dummy like a child. So why treat a child like a crash test dummy? If they're under 4'9", they need a booster seat. Learn more at boosterseat.gov.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends. Friends to go out with on a Saturday night. Friends to hang out with and do nothing. Friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
Welcome back. Specialist Ross McGinnis now lies with more than 300,000 sons and daughters of America. Back in 2006, McGinnis laid himself on a grenade to save 4 of his soldiers. His selfless act earned him a posthumous Medal of Honor. Dave Anarino takes a look at how family, friends, and fellow soldiers came together at the White House, the Pentagon, and Arlington National Cemetery to pay their respects to a hero.
Before he entered our country's history, Ross McGinnis came of age in the town of Knox, Pennsylvania. Back home, they remember a slender boy with a big heart and a carefree spirit.
One of his teachers, Libby Hansford, called him a regular guy who does exceptional things. He loved cars, loved all kinds of music. His sisters told me today that in order to get them to play with him, he would even play Barbies.
For his actions, Private McGinnis received the Silver Star, posthumous promotion in rank, and a swift nomination for the Medal of Honor. But it wasn't acclaim or credit that motivated him. Ross's dad has said, "I know medals never crossed his mind. He was always about friendships and relationships. He just took that to the ultimate this time."
The stone that we will unveil will remind each of them that freedom is not free, and that great soldiers like Ross have died in defense of that freedom.
Ross, we'll never forget you. Though you spent only 19 years here with us, you lived your life to the fullest as a great son, as a great brother, a courageous soldier, and a comrade in arms. The United States Army and this nation will honor your service and sacrifice for as long as the American Republic endures.
May the deep respect of our whole nation be a comfort to the family of this fallen soldier. May God always watch over the country he served and keep us ever grateful for the life of Ross Andrew McGinnis.
Specialist Ross McGinnis was just 19 years old when he died. If you'd like to learn more about the battle in Baghdad where McGinnis saved his buddies, check out Army.mil/Medal of Honor/McGinnis.
Click the Battlescape link to go on an interactive journey from McGinnis's base through the Army.mil area where his convoy came under attack. Well, that does it for this edition of Army News Watch.
Join us again next time for the stories that make America's Army.